10
Yeah,
years.
yeah. Since your what greatest life achievement?
Yeah, premiership.
How'd you play in that game?
Yeah, I played like shit, but walked out with the medal.
That's all that everyone remembers.
That's it. Me
And by
getting
the
the
time
medal
you get
around
to the
my neck.
grandkids, so you tell them you had 35 and 5.
I reckon I had probably 11 touches.
11? Put a
And that
nail
was
on that.
that's before the game started.
Yeah, just in the warm up.
Yeah, and then I
Counted all those.
watched it from the back line.
Oh dear. Fuck. I mean, I've got a few bad memories of some grand finals, and then I got some good memories of some grand finals. Um,
Uh,
all right. Western Conference Finals wrap up. We'll start with our NBA. This is another sport one. So we've got NBA, we've got round 11 of the AFL, and we've got round 12 of the NRL. And we're recording this on Thursday, the 29th of May. So we've just also
yeah,
had Origin Game 1. So we'll have a touch up on that too.
definitely will.
Do you want to get us started with your Knicks? How are they travelling, mate?
Um, well, we are playing good basketball, but just not obviously good enough for the Pacers. I've called it since round one. If you've been listening to our podcast, you'd know I've been backing the Pacers to make it this far, but the Knicks, I feel like we're missing a certain player. I don't want to trade anyone. I think our team's perfect. I just think we're out of touch with a leader, but in a way that's going to step up every game. Pacers have been playing the same, that fast break game. Every time Knicks get momentum anywhere, they just seem to just get a quick score real quick and easy. What was it? Game five. We had that game five. Yeah, we had that comeback from 20 down, but
Game 3.
three. Cat had bloody 4 points until the last quarter, and then he
Scored
scored
20 in
20.
the last.
Yeah, it's we need players to be scoring throughout the whole game, and it's not happening. Like the last game, we lost by 9 points, but we let them get a decent lead again. So we're letting ourselves down, but Pacers
It's.
just seem to be the team.
I think myself. I was speaking to you. I was also speaking to a mate, Dylan, and just how much this team runs, but then just they do not let any in-game momentum swings occur. Like the Knicks, I think I saw at one stage there was like a block, and then so the crowd got hyped and they raced down and then scored a three. So the crowd's gone crazy. Literally before you knew it, Indiana ran down the other end of the court, scored a layup. Crowd sits back down.
Yeah,
They just don't allow it to like brew and get against them. They don't jack up a three and then let a fast break happen again. Like they'll literally just sprint down the court in numbers, get the easiest shot, and then just reset. And it's been suffocating for the Knicks. I don't feel like they've had large chunks of momentum apart from game one before the Indy comeback.
but
So
we still got a chance.
you still got a chance, and like we'll get to Minnesota, but I saw a post that said who has more of a chance of a 3-1 comeback. It's definitely the Knicks. Always, they've got 2 games at home out of the 3.
Yeah,
So
just one at a time.
winning, coming back from 20 down and winning on Indiana's court can give them the confidence that, hey, look, we know we can do it on their court.
It's
We just
possible.
need to win ours. So big game coming up. This will be tomorrow for us, like Friday, but Thursday in America. Like they just this will be a buzzsaw game for Indiana. I've got a fear just this will show how serious Indiana are. Indiana are they going to come out and go fuck that? We want to get our rest before OKC, or are they going to go oh no, all good, we'll take it easy and we'll just wait until we're at home? It's going to be
Yeah.
interesting.
Well, this is the first time in the playoffs the Knicks have their backs against the wall, so
Yep.
we'll see how they go. They're back at home. I reckon they can steal it just and
Yeah.
extend it.
Yeah. Well, I think they need to win this. It's just kind of hard. Like they obviously need to win and they know how to win, but you've got this depth team of Indiana that just run and run and run, and the Knicks play the same 7 guys. So it's
Yeah.
hard to just keep up with Indiana when they just run all the time, and you guys have played 40 minutes a night. It'd be
And
tough.
Knicks keep getting in foul trouble early, so then you got to sub out Brunson and Robinson and all that, and Cat. They all get these fouls early,
Yeah.
and then they sit out and they got to work with their bench, which worked in game three, but it's not going to work every time.
Now, Knicks only lost by 9. They always felt like they were at arm's length, and game 4. What I found interesting is they closed with, so Josh Hart fouls out. They closed with Landry Shamet instead of like McBride.
Yeah, I'd rather McBride.
I think you'd rather McBride. Like, I get you probably want to shoot some threes at that stage, but I mean, they bring in Shamet into the game, and then they've got fucking Mikal Bridges coming off pin down screens, shooting fadeaway corner threes
Yeah,
to finish off, and only one of them was behind the arc, so it looks like he shot 4 or 5, but 2 were with inside 2, and they just bricked. Like, so what are you bringing in Shamet for then? Doesn't make any sense to me.
yeah. Coach Tibbs, a wild man. But that's tomorrow. We'll see what the pan out. I hope the Knicks make it, but if they don't, it's been a good year, I reckon.
Yeah, and it's hard for me to even see where they make any sort of adjustments. Like,
It's going to come down to how Indiana play. If they
I
play
think
shit,
so.
we obviously walk over because I don't think Knicks are changing anything.
Nah, like I don't think they really can. I don't know what other sort of cards they can really play. Um, like, you've got just their defensive guards with Neesmith and Nemhard, and I mean, even TJ McConnell's played really good minutes while he's been on the floor as well.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know what they can do. I feel like the Knicks get game 5 back on home court, but I just can't see them beating them back in Indiana for game 6
yeah. It'd be historic if they can push a game 7.
somehow. But yeah, I don't know. I can't see it happening at this stage.
Yeah,
We'll go to OKC, and that was a very professional, cool, calm outfit. Just got the job done. Um,
expected.
as Jade Gresham actually kicks the first goal of the quarter against your boys. Um, but expected. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, the Western Conference Finals MVP. He was unbelievable again. Don't know what anyone's going to talk about this game because he went 34, 7, and 8 and only shot 4 free throws.
Yeah.
Are they going to call him a merchant this game?
Well, what's the go with Timberwolves back-to-back years Western Conference? Do they need a? I've seen some post people saying KD, but is he past his time?
I don't think he is. I think KD, just with that body type and the way he shoots the basketball, he fits. It's just, how much do you give up? Like, the problem with their salaries is that's mainly in Gobert and Randall, which, the way these playoffs went, in a rush of blood, you probably think, yep, that makes sense.
Yeah,
But for the grit and grind of the actual season, like, they were known for being a physical, defensive minded team, and then 2 of your big body defenders go. So I think KD works on that team, but it's just, how do you make up that trade if you're Minnesota, really?
well,
Um,
Gobert only took one shot.
yeah, and remarkable, that guy through the season averages 12, 13 rebounds. His line for today's game was 6.5 rebounds. So you're 7'1" and you're a 4-time defensive player of the year, and you just can't grab a rebound in a Western Conference Finals.
Yeah, I think
Jay,
they kind of folded.
yeah, they did. And
Gave
Jaden McDaniels fucking couldn't hit water. That just seemed the game plan. I don't know how much you would have been able to watch because you would have been at work, but
Yeah, I missed.
they just played a secondary defender on Jaden McDaniels that just came across and doubled Anthony Edwards. And to Edwards' credit, he was attempting to pass early and Jaden McDaniels went 2 of 13 and he shot so poorly. In the second half, Anthony Edwards tried to shoot more in Willie's team. I know people were saying in game 4 that he didn't shoot enough. But 7 of 18, 1 of 7, he just got defended so well. I was listening to an interesting pod. They were saying that, like, Ant being 23 and this year obviously developing that pull-up three-pointer and how much he improved there, moving forward, he actually does need to integrate like a MJ, Kobe-like mid-range.
Yeah.
How hard is it going to be to defend him when you think he's going to load up and drive, or he's going to pull up for 3 and he just blows by you with a quick dribble, pull up mid-range and just starts to nail it consistently? Like, that's what he needs to add to his game for him to become sort of MVP level, I reckon.
Yeah, I reckon. Give it 3 years, he'll have an MVP.
Yeah. I mean, people forget he's only 23. He's going to be fucking unbelievable.
But as much as people are on the OKC hate bandwagon, I'm actually stoked that they made it.
Oh, I'm super excited.
Aren't they your actual team?
They're my actual team. Pretty typical sort of probably a broad story. I just picked up 2K14 as my first NBA game to try and get into it, and my player got drafted to OKC. And that's how I got into basketball. I didn't even know the year prior was the year that Harden was at the club and they just lost the finals. So that's how raw I was to NBA.
Lucky I didn't do my 2K12 team. I would have been going for the Charlotte Bobcats.
Oh, fuck that. Yeah, early draft pick there. I obviously didn't play too well in whatever the draft game leading up to it was. I got picked like pick 18 or 19 or something. That's how I slipped to OKC.
I used to take those interview questions serious.
I did. I lived it like I was an actual player.
That's what I'm going to do this weekend. Put in 2K12 and actually do the whole showcase and see where I can get.
Anthony Bennett. Whoa! If you go and listen to the actual number 1 pick, that was a real audio cue from the actual draft. So funny. As Ben Hobbs just kicks it 35 metres and just shot on goal.
The reason I actually go for the New York Knicks was obviously year 8 was when the big phase of everyone started following basketball, and I was like thinking of teams. I was going to go for the Nuggets because they were just the funny name. And then I went home after school once, and there was this movie called, I think it's Eddie. It's a movie about Whoopi Goldberg, that black chick with the dreads. She's a super fan of the New York Knicks. And they call out her ticket. And the ticket's actually, you get to coach the team. And she coaches the New York Knicks.
What the fuck? Could you imagine?
So I watched the movie, and I was like, fuck, that's a good movie. And I was like, fuck it, I'll go for the New York Knicks.
And that's all she wrote.
And they haven't won since. No.
That would be heartbreaking. I mean, I'm a big LeBron fan. I've followed those Cavs sides, and then like the first year I really got into basketball was obviously after Miami beat OKC. Sort of the first year of me watching basketball was when the Spurs just shot the lights out and beat the Heat pretty easy, and then LeBron moved back to Cleveland. So it was kind of good in a way. I just got to watch LeBron on the East and then watch my boys on the West. I don't think I've ever been more heartbroken in a 2-month period of choking a 3-1 lead to Golden State and then watching Kevin Durant leave. I was pretty fucking butthurt from that. But yeah, trust, I was in those Instagram comments defending Russ's triple-doubles from the beginning. So I've been there, done that.
You've done well. The dynasty begins in a month.
Dynasty begins. Let's be real, 5 years, how many rings you see OKC winning? Now, obviously, towards the end of that 5 years could start being when the payroll becomes an issue.
I said 3.
You reckon 3?
I said 3, Pete.
Yeah, I think this was the year that I think teams had to beat them. Yeah. So if OKC can pull it off, I think they match up well against Indiana and New York. But if they can pull it off, I definitely can see them getting stronger next year, and by 2 years later, they'll be a juggernaut pending injuries.
Well, absolutely.
All right, let's get on to your NRL. We both, the teams we support, had a fucking shit week.
Well, it was a short week. There was only, what's this, one, two, three, four,
Yeah, plenty of buys.
5 games, Origin
Yeah.
week. Starting off, my dogs got smashed 44-8. So
Now, how
very,
many of your boys were in the Origin side? Did you have many?
we had two.
Yeah, okay.
We had Max King on debut, and we had the captain, not Angus, Stephen Crichton.
I mean, obviously your skipper's a massive loss,
Yeah, but
but
you
does he
think
sway a 36-point margin?
no, but the interesting thing about this game is it was pissing down rain, and the last time we lost, and it was by a big margin, it was against the Broncos, pissing down rain.
Yeah, so maybe they're a finals football built side, just dry, slick footy.
Dolphins played out of their skins, but that was the biggest, well, headlight for me, or highlight for me, is we cannot play in the wet.
Yeah, yeah. The shock is
Dolph-
the Dolphins fucking just handled the ball like it was dry. But I mean, yeah,
they
Brisbane on
did.
the other hand, yeah, couldn't. Yeah, I don't know. They looked mentally like they turned off and weren't even rocking up for the game, and they were just ready to get towards their bye. Have they got the
Pretty
bye coming
much.
up next round?
I think, no, we had it last week.
No, no, you got the bye. You got the bye this week. The Dolphins and the Sharks also
This
have the
week's.
bye.
Yeah, this week, sorry.
Yeah,
But no, the Dolphins played the ball good. They ran it up the middle, and it just broke us apart. They were just so much better in the passing short and running it up,
mm,
using the wingers, using everyone, and it was almost like the Bulldogs were lost. We're missing two players.
yeah. I mean, your captain, obviously, the role that Crichton plays, like he would dictate a lot of the setup and where they're going and positions and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
So, look, it probably makes sense a little bit, but I don't think it was 36 points. But they just looked completely switched off and like they didn't even want to be there.
yeah. So fingers crossed, the week off will help us,
Yeah,
and then we come back against Parramatta, which will be a good game. But
yeah, absolutely.
move on to Friday. Parramatta 30 to the Sea Eagles 10. 20-point win for the Eels. Massive. No Lomax, no Moses. They turned it on. Bloody, what's his name? Jameer Hopgood played unreal. Um, Papali played great. But the main thing with me is the Sea Eagles. I don't know what.
Yeah, what's happening there?
Well, they've lost. Well, Travojevic is still injured. I'm not sure if the. I think they've. No, wait, hang on. No, Tom did play actually. So Tom Travojevic did play. I just don't know what's going on with Manly at the moment. They, since that whole, I'm still taking it back to Cherry Evans. There's no culture in that team. I reckon. I reckon
Yeah, what's their identity?
there's no week after week. They're just showing up, but they're not fucking putting in. I just think they're lost when you watch them. You don't know what they're doing. I know their captain wasn't there, but I think Manly's fucked.
Yeah, well, what's interesting with Parramatta is they were what 1-4 or 1-5?
Yeah, they were
And
pretty
now they're
down
they're
there.
two and like they're up to 4 wins and 7 losses, I think it is now.
Yeah,
So they've sort of stolen back a bit of momentum, I suppose, and playing not bad footy. So interesting how they've shifted. Because what's interesting is if you actually look at the stats of this game, it's pretty even.
yeah. Like errors were 8 for the Eels, 9 for the Manly. The sets 44 Eels for Manly. Completed sets 39 to 35. Completes 5 and 5. Like you look at the stats, you'd be like, oh, close game, but It was like they just got run off their feet.
I think the only thing I can see here to get a gauge on how the game would have been played, kick return meters and post contact meters, they had a pretty heavy advantage.
Yeah,
So by the looks of it, the kick return, they were just able to start the ball in better positions on the ground, and then their post contact meters just carrying that ball literally only, what's that, 50 meters, but like every little bit, obviously rugby is just the biggest meters gain. If you're getting a team to kick you the ball and you're receiving it on the 30 or 40 and then running it back to your 50 to 40, you're just constantly putting them under pressure, and the Sea Eagles
yeah.
can't get out, and you guys are in better positions to score. So I think they just owned field position and took advantage.
Well, that's it. But Manly's sitting ninth. I reckon they should be thanking the Lords that they're sitting there, because they still got time to fix it. I'm not sure if they'll get their players back this week, if they'll even want to play, because they've got Friday against Saturday, against the Broncos, which will be interesting. But I think the way this form's going, I don't see Manly making the 8. Like, obviously they're ninth, but they're not. Don't be surprised if Parramatta can somehow pull back and finish somewhere in that bottom, like
Well,
8.
Parramatta during this whole Origin stint, they don't really have too many players obviously playing. And if they
Well,
can get a good little run and keep injuries away, they're obviously found some form, so they just need to ride the wave.
the 2 players they do have playing Origin are fucking animals as well.
Yeah.
So getting them back is going to be huge. I think
And
Blues looked pretty healthy on the Wednesday, so I think Lomax and Moses might double up.
yeah, the Blues ended up with a clean bill of health, so I couldn't imagine a lot of those guys would really get dropped from that side at all.
Yeah.
What is
Moving.
happening in Pantherland? You sort of called it, I suppose, with a few of their guys obviously going to Origin as well.
I think it
Um,
was 4 players. They had Toa, Yao, Martin, and obviously Cleary. So it was pretty much the young heads, because pretty much all the old heads. There'd be obviously a few that won the flag last year, but those OGs, that I think there might be only one left with the others playing Origin. This was a big game for what's it called? Knights. They
well, the
needed.
Knights were on that huge slide. We've been talking about that for weeks,
Yeah.
and for them to come out the way they did, I mean, they just took advantage of obviously the guys that were out for the Panthers. But yeah, they actually played a pretty good brand of footy, and Dylan Lucas in that sort of 15 minutes just went fucking ballistic.
I went bananas. That Fletcher Sharp, he's playing unreal footy.
Yeah, like set up a try, but also scored the first one. Like, yeah, he was bloody good. So I actually thought the Knights played a pretty good brand of footy.
And this is with
Um,
Pong is obviously in the Origin, and Bradman Best is injured, so your 2 best players aren't there, and the rest step up and put on this performance. That's really, really good. Panthers, I know everyone kept saying they'll be back, they'll be back. They're not playing finals this year.
no,
It's too late to make the run, in my opinion.
not with this stint of now Origin as well. Like, sort of taking some of their players away.
Well, that's the thing with the Blues playing good. They're not going to drop them.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not like those guys, a little bit selfish, but obviously the goal, apart from team success, is you want to play state of origin footy. So if your team's already not really doing too well,
Well, all those
um,
players in the Origin have won the 4
they've won
flags.
flags. Yeah, so they're going to be like, whatever. So it's not like they'll say, nah, look, I don't really want to play state of origin. I want to try and make the finals. They've
Yeah,
they've done it all a million times.
they've
They don't
achieved
need
it.
another ring
So
around their neck.
Panthers are a team. Maybe next year they'll have a bounce back. Panthers are a team I can see like the Golden State Warriors, where they have this big dynasty. They go shit, and then all of a sudden they come back and win a grand final out of nowhere.
Yeah, well, we've even seen with like AFL sides like lately, teams that have lost the grand final, it's almost like they've had a year off and they slide down the ladder, and then the next year they're straight back up.
Yeah,
I think the Panthers are almost too good of an organisation not to sort of bounce back, but it's just just not really been their year this year at all, has it?
Yeah, has not. I actually missed this game. Roosters 42 to your Sharks 16.
Yeah, I missed it too. Unfortunately, probably fortunately, actually, I was out. But um, yeah, I mean, we had a couple at Origin, not too much, but a couple. Um, Same sort of thing. We've got the bye next
Yeah,
week. We just fucking didn't look interested at all.
stats look good. Sharks are still that team where one week they look like a top full side, the next week they look like a bottom full side.
I think it
So
was just the amount of tackle breaks the Roosters had. They just got them at pivotal points. Um, so yeah, I don't know. It was pretty ugly, but yeah, the Roosters made us look shit.
well, one shout out for the Roosters. One old rusty man, old uh, what's it, Daniel Tupou. He played really good for an old fella.
Well, do you know what's funny about Tupou as well? Is he started the game like a house on fire. You could see him half blow up. Dad was saying he didn't really see him too much later on in the game, but I suppose the job was done.
Yeah. Plus, I reckon good for the Roosters that Sandon Smith has been playing really good. So it might be a bit iffy for when the bloody Cherry Evans, if he ends up going there. What's the
Yeah,
way going to happen when all their boys are healthy and then he got this old 36-year-old man taking the
coming through.
reins? And Smith, I reckon, gets picked up by Parramatta. You heard it first.
Ooh, is that you got sources on that, or you just is that what
Uh,
you would do if you're a list manager?
Barbecue sauce, mate. That's
Oh, fucking
speaking of it.
please.
They reckon Lockie Galvin's going to the Dogs.
Where have you heard that? Is that just all on the news?
That's been on the news, mate, all week, and they've told Mahoney, whatever his last name is, with the white head guard,
Yeah,
he's more than welcome to start looking for other clubs if he wants.
yeah,
But I think that's a bit risky because you don't want to get rid of this good call for a young kid that still hasn't proven that he's good.
yeah. Like, would they have to give up a bit for him? Is it?
Nah, because I think he'll be a
Yeah, okay.
free
Like
agent.
free agent. Yeah, okay. Interesting. Yeah,
He's
that's the thing though. Like, do you blow up? Do you sidetrack two or three blokes' development for the sake of just one bloke?
yeah,
So,
and there's still Sexton as well. He
yep.
hasn't he hasn't said nothing about his contract, and it ends this year. He hasn't been offered anything, so it is, as much as the Dogs are on top, a bit nerve wracking to see how this all plays out. I would like Lockie Galvin, but I don't want to lose me hooker and me 5'8". So good.
Could that be the start of a Dogs dynasty if you start pulling in some of those blokes that they reckon will get on your list?
Oh, it could almost be like OKC, have all these prime young lads. We'll
Because
just
you
look
guys
like
are young enough.
you got Gus Gould, who pretty much shaped up Penrith, and look what happened. Now he's doing the same thing at the Dogs.
Yeah. Yep. So nah, I'd keep an eye. Like this is almost, it's kind of like the almost a year too young for the Bulldogs. But if they get it done, look out.
Yeah. All
So
right.
that'll be interesting moving forward. Last game of the round.
Warriors and the Raiders. How good are the Raiders?
Raiders are just getting it done at the moment. They're playing. I mean, they lost to your boys, but they beat a lot of the good sides.
Yeah, I wanted 2 and 3 clash in New Zealand. What's that lad's name? Fogarty. He played unreal. Yeah.
Yeah, he was very
Jamal
good.
Fogarty stepped up. What
That
was
that
it?
gets proven in his fantasy points too.
Yeah, it was just a good clash over in New Zealand. They both just went hard at it. Raiders, I think, are proving that that's the thing. They've got all these. It's like each week the Raiders play, you discover not discover, but like a young dude just steps up and takes the game on. And this week it was that Jamal Fogarty's week, and he just stepped up. I guess when you have the coach like Ricky Stewart, he's gonna obviously train you, create you into this superstar player. And it was a bit iffy in this game because they didn't have that Hudson Young who was in Origin camp, but Warriors also didn't have Barnett, one of their forwards, who really they both lost a player to Origin, two different positions, but 6 point game. I think it turned out to be what everyone expected.
Yeah, yeah, exactly right. I thought, what's his face for the Warriors? Jackson Ford. He was a brute. Rare that you sort of see a guy get the most run meters and most tackles in a game.
Yeah,
He was unbelievable for the Warriors. He stepped up with obviously some of their outs with Origin.
yeah,
Um, but all in all, like very very close game. Like stats wise, eye test, everything was good about this game, and obviously took the Fogarty try late to sort of get it over the line. But fuck, it was a good last 15 minutes just watching the Warriors throw everything at the Raiders. But it just
yeah.
showed
And
what sort of the Raiders were just a good professional outfit. They almost didn't even look flustered with any of it either.
yeah, and I don't reckon the Warriors lose any stock in losing this game either.
No, no way.
They'll be fine.
No,
And
they were good.
that's our wrap for the NRL.
Quick with a few buys on at the moment. We're at 31 minutes in. This might be a record pod.
No, we still got the whole every
You got the
AFL.
AFL, but that's all right. We'll be able to breeze through some of them.
Well,
Um,
Thursday.
Probably you go.
Well, the first thing before I mentioned the scores, the Cats versus the Giants, it was like they swapped jerseys.
Yeah, that was spoken about all week through it too. That was a bit ridiculous, I thought.
Because when I was watching it, I was like, oh, yeah, Dogs got it. And when they kicked the goal, I was like, hang on a second.
Hang it. Yeah, yeah. I don't know what was going on in the brain department at either Indigenous Guernsey design.
Just,
Geelong put some blue and red in their side, and then Bulldogs were pretty much strictly blue and white with a little bit of red. I don't know what was going on.
yeah. But apart from that, Geelong proving it again that they're not even much.
Geelong just like to play. Every time Geelong play, it's game of the year. And then the next
Oh,
week it's game of the year, and then the next week it's game of the year. Halfway through the second quarter, I thought they were going to fucking win by 10 goals.
oh,
And
they're
then the way
just,
the Bulldogs came back, I thought they were going to win by 5 goals.
yeah.
So, fucking unbelievable game of footy. Jeremy Cameron kicked 7. He was unbelievable. Um,
Smith got 33 touches. That dude's on a rampage this year in
yeah,
touches.
he's a bit of a freak this year. He's just such a fucking gut running athlete. Like him and Holmes. We need some sort of nickname for those two. Like they're just the road runners. They just fucking keep going. It's unbelievable.
Oh, it's just a good game to watch. Like the Dogs were giving it to them. Like it's not too often you get to see the 127 to 113.
Yeah, it
It,
felt like I was watching the 90s, like the way that they all just ran around and just kept kicking goals. But that's the thing with both sides. Like they try and take it on continuously through the middle of the ground with their
yeah,
aggressive kicking. So the turnaround there is when they turned the ball over, both teams were like fully exposed, and both teams did themselves no harm. When we talk about that with the Warriors before, the way both teams played, like yeah, they were just bloody. It was a great game of footy to watch, and you don't see 20 goals to 16 too often. It was unbelievable.
yeah. So good win by the Cats. Uh,
Absolutely.
Friday, an underwhelming Friday game, I reckon. The Bombers and
Oh
Tigers.
man, if it
Who set that one up?
if this wasn't the dream time, there's just no way that you would have this as your Friday night slot. I always thought this was the Saturday slot, so they must have changed that this year. I don't know what the go was with that, but fuck man. Look, at the end of the day, with the amount of injuries that we've got, we still gritted it out and won, but more injuries. My man, as I was telling you about him, Zach Reed, hamstring. He was looking really good halfway through the third quarter before he went down.
Yeah,
Now Langford's out with a quad after doing his hamstring earlier in the year, so that's fucked. And now Mackay's out with a foot injury that he sustained in the game. So literally three, like two backs and a forward. when we're already fucking minimised down back. Like we're just fucked, unfortunately. So looks like we're going to have a heroic effort tonight, but we're going to lose to your mob by a couple of goals, but which I'm pretty impressed
Yeah,
with. But
you've
just
given
too
us a
many
good.
injuries.
You've given the Lions a good fight tonight, but how much is left? 3 minutes or something.
Nah, 40 seconds. We're down by about three
Uh,
goals, so pretty good
I
effort
mean,
by our boys. But good to see young Angus Clark on debut. Glenelg, Mount Gambier boy, kick three. He looked pretty good for us. So I was pretty
oh
happy
yeah, the
with that in
young
the end.
country lad, he was looking good.
Yeah, so yeah, pretty happy with him in the end, and I think he's played okay again tonight. So he looks like he
Big
can play.
future. You kicking the
So
goals tonight.
no, I think he played a bit more down back. He's usually a half back in our VFL, so it was kind of a bit strange to see him forward, to be completely honest. But
At least he kicked the three.
yeah, no, he was very good. So no, anyway, moving on.
The Blues and the Giants, 82 to 110. The Giants finally look like the Giants again.
Yeah, well, I'm interested to see what they do this week. So Toby Green, second half of the Freo game, they ended up getting spanked, but he moved on ball and looked very good.
Yeah,
Started him on ball against Carlton and just fucking dominated. 28 disposals, 9 marks, 3 goals, 3. They literally, when they drafted him, they obviously wanted him to be an on-baller, but when you draft your guns that they had running through that midfield back in the day with Kelly and Caniglio and Ward and all those guys, it was always hard for him to get a spot. So they retaught him to play half forward, and now that he's sort of this midfield sort of goal kicking mid, he looks unbelievable. So hopefully they keep him there for the rest of the year.
yeah, that is good. Well, even with the goal kicking, you had Hogan with 4, Green with 3, Brown with 3, Riccardi with 3, Admin with 2. Some good goal kicking, like a couple bags there.
Yeah, yeah. I'd like to see Kerno just grab a game and kick 5 or 6 pretty soon, to be completely honest. I
Well,
know
he
he's
had,
kicked 3 goals 3, but I couldn't tell
yeah,
you the last time he's kicked 4 if it wasn't against North Melbourne.
that is very true. Yeah, I don't know where to start with the Blues. It is crazy to think it was only 2 years ago they were in a prelim final and they were 30 points up in the
Yeah, they
first
look like a
quarter.
bit of a shell of themselves at the moment, don't they? Like,
I
if
think
it's... Yeah.
yeah, I think it's got to the point where maybe a coaching change is involved. I know you can't blame it on the coach, but what else is he going to do? They've got the star power, but nothing seems to be lighting up. They've got one of the greatest, like not the great, like one of the greatest fan bases, and they've got a good young side. Just, it's like they give up.
Yeah, it's hard. Like, they've got a lot of kids and then a lot of sort of mature age and not much sort of entering that sort of prime premiership window of 26, 27. So, like, it's bloody
There's
hard.
not,
Like, yeah,
there's,
I don't know. At the moment, there's just too the floor, I suppose, between they're really good and really bad is too high. They don't sort of
there's no
play
middle.
bad.
Yeah,
Um,
and they almost need someone that's. I know they got Bossy, like a coach that's done it all, but almost need a player that's done it all on that side. I reckon, like someone that's actually won a flag as a player, because I don't think they've got anyone on that field that's had any success apart from
no,
individual awards.
yeah. So who's your standard setters at that stage? Like, if they all don't know what it's like to sort of taste that success, and they just sort of not that they fluked it, but if they sort of just got themselves into a prelim both games, sort of some crazy comebacks, and then they've proved that it was a bit of a fluke because they haven't been back there since. Like, do they need to try and get in some mature age recruits that have been there, done that to sort of set the standard and know what it's like?
Because I know if people are listening, and I've said that, they'd be like, shut up, side. They've got a 3-time premiership winning coach. But it's like, sometimes you need that experience on the ground.
you need players to drive it as well at training and stuff. Like if it's just, you know what it's like too when you've got a coach that's just saying it over and over, they'll be like, yeah, whatever, but you're the coach sort of thing. You know what I mean? Like you just end
Yeah.
up getting annoyed for no reason. If it's being driven from other players, and especially if it's come from a different club entirely, like say someone from a Geelong comes over, or well, Brisbane have obviously just won a flag recently, or like you know what I mean. If someone comes over from those sort of clubs and starts
And sets a
going,
standard.
yes,
But that's what you look. Brisbane finally won a flag,
Collingwood,
but they had Hodgie there.
they had
Hodgie,
Hodgie there early days as that perfect. I've
and they
been
were,
there, I've done that. I was in an elite team as the
and
player to then drive it
they
because
obviously
again, like
retired, but it was set standard
then,
then.
yeah, because especially early days when Brisbane was struggling, Fags didn't play AFL. So how hard would have it been for the players to gain his trust? Your team sucks, and you've got a guy that hasn't even played in the AFL coaching you.
Yeah,
It'd be easy for some of those guys to roll over. But if you have your standard setters in a guy like Luke Hodge, that's exactly what I think Carlton need. They're obviously not as bad as what Brisbane were, but that's exactly the type of guy they need to get over to their club.
yeah. So I don't know who would be out there, but there'd be someone. Like,
Man, like fuck, I know. Think of how horrific this would sound, and he would never ever do it. But imagine like a Pendlebury going there
yeah, it would
just for a year.
change the culture.
That's why I thought it would even be smart if Pendlebury did it for North Melbourne,
Mm.
just for
That's
a
what
year, set the standard. That would be the same sort of situation.
Well, that's the thing
Got,
with Melbourne. Like, yes, they're not playing good now, but they've got people in uh, Daniels and what's his name from the Swans, Parker.
Parker,
They
yeah,
got these two lads, and I can guarantee over the next few years you'll see success. They'll both retire, or they'll still be more. Parker will. Caleb Daniels will probably have a bit more. I reckon they will be in a semi-final.
yeah. Like, and it's probably showing. It's a good segue because they're our next game anyway. But lately, like they had that close loss to Port, close loss to Essendon. They had a close win then against Richmond, but they were only 3 points down at three-quarter time against Collingwood.
Yeah.
So it's starting to shift that the sort of culture and belief is there from those sort of mature age guys carrying it down. Yeah, it's not pretty always with those guys, but you can see the young kids are getting along and developing. I think you're right. I think North are sort of just starting to understand sort of better standards with their footy because it's not like they're doing the careless shit turnovers that they used to do and just roll over and die. They're in these games.
Yeah. And
Um, but yeah,
crazy
you
with
go.
Collingwood, they rested a lot of people in this game, and they just showed their depth.
They're just plug and play, aren't they?
That's the biggest highlight. At the beginning of the year, I said Collingwood's not going to have a sniff, and now, apart from my lines are pretty iffy, like here and there. Yeah, my lines are showing that they're human. Collingwood's looking like an absolute juggernaut.
Yeah, Collingwood looks a little bit of a machine. I think obviously since they were able to have a whole pre-season, sometimes you do find it hard when Lee Matthews said it really well. Sometimes the premiership hangover starts in the middle of the season when you're in the grind.
Yeah,
And I think that's what's happening with Brisbane. They're sort of just going through the motions. They're still doing what they have to do. When Brisbane need to turn it on, they look fucking great. So don't be surprised the last 4 rounds of the season, they just fucking kill sides before the finals. But Collingwood have just been able to start the year like a house on fire and they look like a machine.
yeah. Well, that's pretty much all I'll say about Collingwood. They had heaps arrested and they played well. And they won by 45, but the game before, I was nervous about the Hawks playing the Lions, 193 to 60 against them, so 33 points. But at the G as well, where we got our curse, which I think we've officially broken. Obviously, we won the flag, but
Yeah, you won the flag, but like, this is what I mean about when you guys need to turn it on. Like, your ability to put scores on in bursts is like the biggest thing for me. Like tonight, this Bombers game, for example, we were winning 72-70 with like 10 minutes to go.
Yeah,
And then all of a sudden there's 6 minutes left on the clock and it's 90-72 and the game's done.
yeah,
So you've scored
absolutely.
3 goals in 4 minutes. You did the same thing to Hawthorn. You just scored in bursts. It's too hard to stop. It just kills any sort of momentum a team has.
Well, even with Zorko with 33, Neil with 32, you got your two veteran leaders showing it to the young guys. We've got this. They played good in a game which I reckon a lot of people were doubting us and come up strong because Hawks are still playing good footy. I don't reckon this loss does anything to their stock value. They'll
Nah,
be fine.
the Hawks, they're a good side now when they're probably not even playing up to a standard that they want, and they're still, I think, 7-4. So for them to sort of be in the position that they are is sort of a credit to what Sam Mitchell's building, but they probably just need to fix up their contested possession game. I think they've been lacking there the past 3 weeks. I saw some
Yeah,
stupid stat where they were like negative 43 in the last 3 games.
Jesus.
And they've gone close win, loss. So it probably reflects that they need to get that side of their game sorted, and I think the Hawks will be fine.
Alright. Rach would have had her knickers off after watching this.
Oh.
The Dockers 100 to Port Adelaide 51. What the hell is going on with Port?
Well, we called it. I think they're cooked, but
It was close at half time.
it was, but yeah, I think the tide shifted for Fremantle. I almost had the feeling that they put in a bit of an extra running block and felt like they weren't hard enough or fit enough early in the season because their second half against the Giants last week, they fucking crushed them, and then they did the same thing to Port Adelaide this week. So they just look like a fit, hungry side that's ready to go. Interesting, this week they picked Fife to come back in their side and Darcy, so they probably lose a bit of leg speed, but they do gain some grunt.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just going to be interesting because they just look like a fit running machine at the moment in those second halves. Like GWS is known for their running, and they made them look second rate, and then they backed it up and did it to Port. So, Freo looking good. Voss looks good. I like Voss. He fucking works hard. Sarong's a gun. Brayshaw's a gun. Don't know what is it his brother or his cousin, that fucking dude with the OnlyFans chick, but yeah, he's it.
OnlyFans chick.
One of the Brayshaws, I can't remember which one it is and what the relation is, but he's with an OnlyFans chick that just went off and did some 100-guy orgy and he wished her luck. And they're like engaged.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's going on there, but anyway.
Well,
Freo look good.
Well, Murphy Reed's probably my best player on that team. He's, apart from Sarong and all that, but he's a young forward, first year, and he's just dominating.
His disposal inside 50 is a touch of class. He's such a good ball winner. I was so glad when Freo drafted him. Bit of a steal that late, but yeah, he's unbelievable.
And my only thing for Port is sack Kenny already. I've had enough of them. Just get rid of Ken. They need new structure. They need new everything. Players, they're superstars. They just need the right structure, plan, because whatever's been happening the past few weeks ain't happening.
Yeah, I wonder if over the bye, like Port's bye, they just call it and go, that's it. Time to bring the new guy in. Because what are they gaining from keeping him?
They don't owe him shit. He's given Port nothing, honestly.
Yeah, well, really, exactly. And both ways, like, he's the longest serving coach without even a grand final appearance.
Yeah, an appearance. If he'd maybe won a grand final or something, yeah, they'd have that thing that they'd work, just finish him off, but nah.
Yeah, I think you're right. I don't think he really deserves it. I think he's doing them more harm than good if they stick on to the way that they're going in this second half of the season.
Alright, on to the Croms, 128 to 62.
That was professional, the second half.
Croms they're knuckling down. Rochelle, 5 goals, no behinds. Love to see
he has not done that since his debut game?
Holy smokes.
So
Well, it's
there's a little
good.
interesting stat.
He is probably the most, what's the word, critiqued, pressured Crow heard over the past few years, and I don't even live there anymore. It seems
And
like he's always getting picked on.
I think all because he just celebrates hard. But
Mm.
like you're a small forward that's had 16 touches, 5 goals, and 6 tackles. Like you got to give him your flowers. Like he fucking works hard. He's had his ribs absolutely poleaxed earlier in the season. He's come back. He looks more fit. He looks more shredded. He does have a bit of a punchable face. I won't lie, but
No,
like he's still a
100%.
fucking gun high half forward. My man Jordan Dawson, untaggable Dawes. You tag him on ball, he goes to full forward, he kicks 2 goals. You then drop the tag because you've got other blokes killing you inside, and then he goes back in and he just a Rolls Royce through the middle of the ground and sets up all the players.
Yeah.
Sometimes late in quarters he goes to centre half back and then you can't get the ball past him because he takes intercept marks. Like he's just unbelievable. I put a I put a pop shop on him earlier in the season. $10 to win the Brownlow at 51s. He's now actually the favourite at $4.50.
Holy.
So I have an $80 cash out already that pending an injury, and if he keeps this form up, I may be able to snag Dawson at 51s. He's my literally second favourite player behind Zachy Merritt. He's a bloody gun. I love Dawson.
Yeah, he's really showing his colours this year, that's for sure. And the West Coast. Yeah.
Sad news with Waterman. He was looking really good in that game too, and then yeah, his shoulder became separated, and now he is out for the season, unfortunately.
Didn't they
Um,
draft two Ruckman this week as well? No, midfielders.
yeah, they need more midfield depth. That's where they lack. Like Harley looks better now that he's been back on ball. I know they've been trying that Brady Howe a little bit on ball, but they
Yeah.
sort of tried to send him more of a defensive task this week. But they just don't have enough. Like, yeah, I don't know. There's just not enough through there. Tim Kelly looks like a shell of himself. He really actually doesn't look like he's enjoying footy at all.
No.
Um, Jaden Hunt probably thought they'd get a little bit more out of him when he came over from Melbourne, but he's just sort of floating through. But I
Yeah,
mean, they've
they're
got
a bit of limbo at the moment.
yeah, I mean they got young guys like Hewitt and Marich, and yeah, I was mentioning Howe before, but yeah, they just don't have enough at the moment through the middle of the ground, and when you can't set up the ground
Yeah,
from getting
absolutely.
some midfield dominance, it's not good.
Now we'll move on from those poor Eagles getting their feathers plucked. Uh, Melbourne 131 to Sydney 78. Good game by Melbourne. Best on
Something
ground,
ridiculous with Melbourne.
Cozzy Pickett.
Oh man, does he go to Freo next year?
Ugh, he's a WA lad, isn't he?
Yeah, WA lad. I think his girlfriend is sort of friends with Shia Bolton's girlfriend. I think who's
He's got Shy
friends with.
Bolton there. He's got bloody what's his name, Young Dudley,
Yep.
Walters. I know they're all those, all the dark fellas at Freo are really close. I'm pretty like family close. I'm pretty sure. So I don't know. Feel like Pickett will stay. Who knows? He'll probably go because. But I feel like since Petrarca never left, surely that has a bit of favour.
Just keep an eye on the Petrarca thing. You never know if he ends up going this year.
Yeah,
Um, you don't know. Like bit of better form again from Clayton Oliver. He looked a little bit more back to his normal self.
yeah, must be off the coke.
Yeah, must be. He actually looks like it. Or maybe he's back on it. Maybe that's why he's fucking playing so well.
That's it.
But yeah, they're moving the footy a lot better. They've gone from a team that couldn't score. I think since they scored like 50 odd points against Essendon, they've been constantly around the 80, 90 mark and obviously scoring 131 against the Swans. So they've changed their ball movement. They're running pretty hard and they're scoring. So good on Simon Goodwin for turning that around.
Mm. And then I think with Sydney, I think I usually would say, oh, the window's shut. I just reckon give them, like you said, a year off, and they'll be back. They're still young.
Well, they did that last year, didn't they? So they lost to Geelong, didn't even
Yeah.
make the finals the year after. Then obviously came back in the grand final, lost again. Maybe they are just having a sort of year. They've got to get used to Dean Cox. Obviously, it's a bit of a change in coaching and sort of game plan and structure.
And
So
obviously,
maybe
it
you're
would not
right.
surprise me if they make the grand final next year. I would put your money on them. I reckon they would. If this team makes it back to the grand final, I can guarantee they'll win it.
Do you think they have the forward line to try and make a shot at the eight and especially a grand final next year?
Um, they would have to. Someone in the forward line would have to step up. Um, who's that dark lad?
Huh?
The dark lad that plays in their forward line. I forget his name.
Amadi.
Yeah, if he can have a big breakout year in the forward line, become their key target. I'm not saying they'll make the grand final, but they need someone in that forward line because they've been so gifted over the past few years.
Yeah, I think it just fit. Obviously, like Buddy's such a gun, but I think it just had a lot of, um, like it was just Buddy basically covering up a lot of holes up forward, and yeah, now that he's not there, they just haven't been able to fill that hole since. So, um, they need to try and get a big forward and fast because the guys that they've had there that they thought were coming along, they just never sort of erupted and went how we thought they would. So they need to
Yeah,
fix that up pretty fast.
yeah, 100%. But we're going to the last game of the week. St Kilda 61 to the Suns 80. Thank God the Suns won this one because I just like the Suns at the moment.
I'm liking the
Like
Suns. I think they're a good side. I fucking just don't want a Ross Lyon side to do well, to be honest.
they got that win at Marvel. Thank God. Um,
Yeah, you would have thought that the Richmond game might have been haunting them, but they did it right.
but you still had Sharman kicking 3 goals, three, and bloody Owens kicking 2-2. So they still had. That's still a good look for.
Well, Cooper Sharman has these games. He just looks like fucking Wayne Carey. He
Then
can't he
the
can't
next
drop a
game.
mark, and then next game though you don't see him.
Yeah,
So as he grows, it'll be interesting watching his development. I actually really like him. I think he's a bit of a gun, but he just needs to string. Now he doesn't need to get 9 marks every week, but he just needs to string sort of 2, 3 goals a game consistently. Because then King will be coming back, and imagine trying to defend those two up in the air, and with Mitch Owens.
yeah. Once King's back, it'll become a lot easier. But there was off the game. There was a bit of commentary from uh, Lions towards the Gold Coast. I forget what he said.
Yeah,
Just
about the Nepo baby, the AFL Nepo baby.
yeah,
They're
the
just getting looked
AFL's
after.
Nepo baby, and I think he just got told by Dimmer to worry about your own side, pretty much.
Yeah, what did he say? Something about 11,000 on a Sunday at Marvel, and so maybe go worry about what's going on in your backyard. Good on him.
Yeah, standing
Um,
up. They're not the Nepo babies. They're just one of the new clubs.
yeah, like yeah, okay, they got looked after early, but now this is after this long, it has just strictly been system and drafting and list management.
You could only use their Nepo baby probably in their first 5 years.
Yeah, when they
Not
really
now.
started to gain some positioning on the ladder, and they had Dixon and Lynch and Ablett and okay, maybe they got looked after with a few of those draft picks, but it never went anywhere. So
Uh, my favourite midfield stepped up. Anderson,
love him.
36. Miller, 30. Noble, 27. Jeffrey, 27. Frere,
Really like Jeffrey's
24.
game. Really like Jeffrey's game off the back line. He was a bit of class.
Flanders, bloody 19. Yeah, great game.
I like what they've done.
All
So I
round.
don't know if you've noticed, they've put more Flanders and took Miller sort of up half, like high half forward.
Yeah,
Because they're so fit, they're almost acting as like a fifth, sixth midfielder. Now,
yeah,
Took Miller did sort of go to more centre bounces this week, and that's how he got his 30. But Yeah, I fucking like the coaching change. Get your gut runners up and half forward because you need your biggest tanks up there. It's the hardest position on the ground to play.
Yeah, 100%. They got Frio this week, which will be a good one.
Yeah, I've only tipped Gold Coast because they're at home,
Yeah,
but
they are hard to beat at home.
yeah, but it going to be interesting. Like I'm Gold Coast have some running machines with Took, with Flanders, with Anderson, with Rao. So mixing those guys, and then the running power that Freo have displayed in the last couple of weeks, like yeah, this is going to be a cracking game, I reckon.
Yeah, 100%. We'll quickly do a touch up on the Origin.
Yep, you're the main Origin man here.
18 to 6. I've said I didn't, not saying I didn't like the Queensland side. The sheet just looks a bit, well, not a bit, it's just not as powerful as what the New South Wales team looks on paper. And over the past few years, the Blues have had the names on paper, but Queensland have been able to cope with it. I think this is the year that we struggle. As a Queensland, I think we do get swept because the game was only that close. Is because Cleary missed 3 field goals, Lomax missed his. Um, we kept the game plan just looked like kick to Nanai every time, kick up, attack and kick, but just Nanai, Nanai, Nanai. They should have tried other things because they didn't use the wing on with Hammer and Val Holmes once really. They should have
Which
mixed
was
it
so
up.
strange because like a guy like Billy Slater that got a lot of those runs down the wing in his day, and then just
Yeah,
didn't seem to really utilise getting the ball wide. And
it
then
kept looking. Oh, you go.
I was just going to say the flip side of that, them not going wide, yet they still couldn't defend the middle of the ground. How many times did New South Wales just have the ball on their 40 on, say, tackle three, and they just broke that line to just gain 15, 20
Well,
metres, and
that's
all of a
it.
sudden they're just putting Queensland under pressure. Even the first try of the game, look, we were stopped, and they just flicked out that little pass, broke the first tackle, ran down 20, 30 metres, and then they used the wings, got out wide, easy try in the end. Just
Well,
that ability to break through the middle of the ground and then get it out wide, they just killed them with that.
yeah. Matty Johns always says Origins won through the yardage, and you can see that when New South Wales are kicking from halfway after their set, and Queensland kicks from their 30, and it kept happening. There was a stage where Queensland flipped New South Wales on their head, but 2 times New South Wales scored tries on fifth and last, but just it's like every time New South Wales starts freelancing, flicking the ball, just trying stuff, it just completely opens up and breaks Queensland's defence. That
Yeah,
first one was their fifth tackle. Cleary plays his best when he runs. He quick play the balls, quick runs, and they just flicked out until we got open to Crichton. And the thing about Crichton, yes, he passed the ball, but he took on the line like sprinting, like he was going to score that, which made all the defenders stop and look at him. And then he got that flick out to Lomax. And then the second try, it was the quick pass by Mitchell, which was insane, but it made Coates get sucked in and leave Toa right wide open.
and everything that you've just mentioned is meters gained. Like they just took the
Mm.
extra yardage when they could and would wait for Queensland to sort of bite. And once they didn't care about the first tackle coming in, they cared about the second bloke coming across, and that's when they were releasing. And it's
Yeah,
just
yeah,
something that Queensland didn't do. They just sort of took the tackle, went down, and then just kept playing the ball. But I thought New South Wales played with a bit more venom.
yeah. And now they're off to Perth. So the only change I've said is this is a bit controversial. Uh, Either you put Cherry Evans on the bench and Dearden needs to be on that field from the get go, not
Yep.
coming off the bench because Cherry Evans didn't play a bad game, but I think it's time for the curtain to close with Cherry Evans.
Yeah, was he more just picked on like this year? It's not like he's fucking played
No,
overly well. Do you reckon he's just sort of picked on his name at this
I don't.
stage?
I'm not picking on his name because of everyone else is. I just think Dearden is more aggressive with the ball. He attacks the line, I think, and he's quicker, which is even better. And Dearden's known for attacking the line, either double pumping and passing or throwing a dummy and breaking the line. When Cherry Evans is more structured, reading the holes and passing to each player.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's why we have Munster as well. But all the things I've heard from podcast and all that from his former teammates, when Munster goes out and plays, he doesn't really call the structure. He just plays free flowing backyard footy. That's just the way he plays, and it works.
Yeah.
He doesn't structure his team. The team structures around Munster, and that's what
Well,
it kind of looked like. But
what I've sort of seen, like, it's funny when we're talking about, like, again, structure, read the play. That's sort of how Queensland ended up looking. They looked like they were boxy and didn't really have a lot of flow or like punch. Where if you get the guy that just plays freely, takes the small gaps that he can, like maybe they need to interject that to get more guys on the move so they can look like they're a bit more um, ferocious, I suppose, moving forward.
well, every time we were within the 20 metre, we didn't look threatening.
Nah,
Yeah,
nah, that's it.
we got that lucky hit by Nanai where we got that try, but apart from that, we did not look threatening. Another thing I heard is they need to put Val Holmes in the centres and
Yep.
Hammer on the wing, because when you're giving the ball to Hammer, he's too quick for Holmes, so the distance is way apart and it just doesn't work then because he's just too fast for him. You need Val Holmes in the centres so then Hammer can run off his speed, but Crichton done a good way of shutting him down. I think Robert Toyer, the rookie of Origin, played out really well on Latrell. I reckon he heard all about Latrell and he just shut him down. Not obviously shut him down big, but he played really well on Latrell.
You're the coach of Queensland. What do you change for game two?
Dearden starts, Cherry Evans doesn't. I'm not saying drop Cherry Evans. I know he's the captain, but Dearden has to start on that field. That's my
Yep.
main. Yes, there might be players like Jai Arrow, maybe. Our best player was probably Tino and Taulagi. But that's my biggest thing. Put Dearden starts, Cherry Evans on the bench. And I know he's the captain, but they might have to change that and give the captaincy to Munster.
Yeah, like I don't see why not. Munster's also been there and done that. He's got the leadership and naturally anyway. So
Well,
is
Harry
it that big
Grant.
of a deal if in a game two you just flick it? I mean, Cherry Evans probably, let's be real, he probably doesn't even have to strip the captaincy just because he's starting on the bench. But
Yeah.
if you do want to fucking like shake it up a little to get some boys on their toes, like maybe you do need that.
Mm. But that's my biggest thing, just Dearden. I haven't really looked into who else, but everyone had an off game. I reckon Harry Grant played the worst game in his Origin career.
Yeah,
It wasn't good by him, but he'll bounce back.
he's
But
too good not to.
we've never won in Perth, and every time we've played in Perth, we've been absolutely slaughtered. So
It's the only thing I think I'd change, to be honest. I think it should be one Queensland, one New South Wales, and then if it's 1-1, then it's perfect to go play in the mutual field.
well, I always thought it was if you win the series, you get two and you stay.
Well, yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I think it's a bit bizarre how they lay it
That's
out.
all it
Like,
is.
yeah, yeah. So maybe they get less money if say they play this in New South Wales. New South Wales have won 2-0, so then they go to Perth after that. But surely fans, because they don't get to see football a lot, would still go and see an Origin game 3. Who cares? Dead rubber.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I haven't. It's probably gone to Perth again. It's probably already signed last. It would have been signed last year or whatever, 2 years. But it's probably also they're like, yes, let's get in Perth because the new team's going there too.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's it. That it makes a lot of sense why they're trying to get some crowd over there and some interest. Obviously, like you said, with the new key coming, so it makes sense. So yeah, what do you reckon? Though, do Queensland fight back?
No,
they
I don't
don't. They
see.
don't. They don't look as mature and
They
as physical as the New South Wales side.
no, that New South Wales spine is unreal. Cleary and Moses played really well together. Um, there's a quick, yeah, prove me wrong, please, so I don't have to put up,
Cry.
cry myself to sleep. But no, it didn't look like there was. I could rant on this for another half hour, but there was no real aggression.
Yeah, it didn't. They didn't give off like it was game one in your home stadium for an Origin.
No,
It was gritty defense all night long, which was the same. But yeah, I don't know. It just wasn't as hard hitting as I thought it was going to be. Even when I checked in,
yeah,
I was cooking dinner and mainly in the second half. But even when I popped my head in for a bit, it still didn't just seem to have that punch that a normal Queensland side does.
yeah. We'll find out in 2 weeks' time.
Well, we got ourselves to an hour 13 again somehow. I don't know how we do it. So I don't know how we did it when we had a heap of NBA games to cover, but we keep making up the time when we thought this was going to be a quick show.
No, it's all right. We've got an average timing. Hopefully, we can do our
Do a different,
fun.
unique one tomorrow. We might be
Yeah,
doing last 20 AFL picks. We've got a couple of topics that you wanted to talk about. The doll that's fucking the Annabelle doll,
yeah.
but
There's
all sorts.
a lot happening in the world, but I won't spread too many rumors and teasers.
They're
We're
gonna have
just
to
gonna
watch.
actually have to get together and do it. I think this weekend we will.
Yep,
Tomorrow.
absolutely. All right, thanks
Right.
for listening, folks. If you made it to
Easy.
the end,
All right.
peace.
Have a good one.